Welcome to the Create It with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on faith, wellness, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business you love. I understand the struggle. I've transformed every area of life, from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, including transitioning from over 7 industries and more. You will learn all the things to create, transform, and inspire a life and business you love. So let's create it.
Are you ready to take your marketing like a boss with Black Friday and beyond? Keep listening to boost your Black Friday strategy with my fractional CMO and marketing A to Z free quiz. This free quiz will help you identify where you're at with your strategy, your structure, your systems, with your marketing, with Black Friday, with monetizing, and so much more. When you take the free quiz, I and the team will personally reach out to help you create it with resources. Definitely check out my YouTube video and the video in the show notes at Fractional CMO Like a Boss, so that you have me personally walking you through the quiz and insights and downloads. And you can get a free call with me if you are serious about having a fractional CMO work with you one-on-one for Black Friday and beyond to really take your business to the next level. So let's create it. Welcome to How to Have 7-Figure Pitch and Proposal Days. I am so excited you're here, and I'm so excited you're here to tune in. Grab a notepad, grab your notes on your phone, on your computer, whatever it is that you use to take notes, and or open up another tab so that you take action as I walk you through this. Because if you know anything about me, I am all about taking action to help you create it. That's why I created this community. That's why I created this podcast for the creators to CEOs who crave creating community and cash. Create it like a boss. Speaking of which, my alignment, my divine discipline, which is my phrase for 2023, is blowing me away with the fact that I am proactively co-creating my own Black Friday and marketing campaigns in 2023 and feeling aligned and captivating and flowing with it myself, as well as sharing and serving other creators. So, back to the podcast at hand. So you can head on over to Fit Life Creation /blog and or /post /how to have 7-figure proposal days and or the link in the show notes to follow along visually if you love to do that too. If not, keep listening to the sound of my voice, and I'm going to walk you through so much goodness. You guys, this blog post and this podcast alone is worth millions to billions of dollars if you apply it. The thing is, and I learned to value free content so much as if I paid 5, 6, 7 figures for it, because when you do that and when you set that kind of intention, you value things very differently. And like when I listen to free podcasts or shows, that's how I approach them. And I take it super seriously. And that did not happen overnight, but that is my invitation and my intention as I share this. So, because some people ask me, like, why do you share so much information freely and without charging for it? And I said, because I know that most humans, myself included in the past, do not value free things and do not treat them seriously. And I know that many of you will, instead of applying the information shared here, will rather, for accountability and for holding your feet to the fire, would rather pay for something whether it's 5, 6, 7 figures, because you'll take it a lot more seriously. And that used to be me, as opposed to, as opposed to, as opposed to actually taking this seriously. So that's my invitation. So, how to have 7 figure proposal days may be blowing your mind right now. I understand. It would have once blown my mind too. As I continue to transform from the inside out as a warrior woman of faith, I am constantly surprised by situations and shifts myself. If you had told me 10, 5, even a year ago, I would have found a 7 figure proposal for an annual contract completely aligned to my passion and purpose, I would have thought you were crazy, like batshit. Every step of the experience felt unfathomable and supernatural in every way. From finding the opportunity to putting the 7 figure proposal together, it felt incredible. It felt like breathing. It felt aligned. It felt easy. It felt right. And in that moment, and in those moments, of putting together the proposal, I remember I went that morning to a Soul Cycle class in Atlanta, Georgia, in Buckhead. And then I ended up deciding, and had already decided intentionally to work at Eat Flower Child. It just felt so amazing that I already had and have so much gratitude for simply finding and putting together the proposal, because that was something I had previously prayed about, that please, God, let me find incredibly aligned proposals and opportunities and brands to work with, that it feels easy, it feels right, it feels aligned. Now, full disclaimer, as you continue to listen, quote unquote, spoiler alert, I did not get the contract or a similar one yet. But I wanted to share that as I found it, as I was putting things together, it already felt so supernatural and so amazing, period. And that is what I wanted, regardless of whether I got it or not. Because A, I knew then it was possible. B, I knew that whether I got that contract or not, I knew that was the next logical step. That, of course, I'm going to get a call or interview with an incredibly aligned brand after putting together an aligned contract. Of course, I'm going to get, that contract, whether it's that one or the next one or the next one. And so it was extremely exciting and enlightening to put together the contract and the RFP, the request for proposal. And I challenge you to have faith, to take the action to catapult your confidence. So it has taken me years to have the clarity, the confidence, or Godfidence, like I like to say, to find, be, and present and be present on aligned opportunities, and to even recognize them, because for years I didn't fully know who I was and who I am and my worth. And along the way, I have lost millions of dollars in proposals. If you haven't tuned in to that show, on the podcast, on my YouTube channel, where I talk about it face to face, and or on the blog, I highly encourage you to. It's linked in this blog post that's linked in the show notes. And yes, I'm talking about the L's and the W's, the losses and the wins, to normalize the journey. So you don't think I'm just, planet, I landed on 7 figure proposals, you guys. I'm sharing vulnerably and transparently, while not yet reaching 5, 6, 7 figure months regularly, while being in debt, while having challenging circumstances. So I knock out that thought out of your brain right now, where you think any of this is easy. No. It's extremely humbling, it's challenging, and it has caused me to face so many limiting beliefs and lies about worthiness, about identity, about money, about abundance, and I continue to persist. So that is my invitation to you. Many times before we get to the consistent 5 figure months, the consistent 6 figure years, months, whatever it is that you desire, the 7 figure proposal months, which I've gotten to, and before you see the multi-passionate entrepreneurs making money, there have been so many times that I and we have fallen down flat on our faces. And as I share for you to create it, I want you to know that first and foremost, because I think so many times in the past, it's the overnight success, but the reality is overnight successes take years. Let me repeat that. Overnight success takes years. And I think culture and I think, people and I think social media have normalized the shiny, the glossy, the highlights. And I want to give you the real that yes, this may be a 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever minute it ends up being podcast episode. But the reality is there is hours upon months upon years of blood, sweat, and tears, and choosing to get up again and choosing to create it. And of course, sometimes things may happen seemingly quickly overnight, but that is the behind the scenes, okay? The creator to CEO path is filled with what I call winning or learning a lot. So I win every damn day. Okay. Regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the challenge, I have repeatedly over the last 7+ years, but really honed in on the last 4, reprogrammed my mind, Romans 12:2, to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. A short excerpt there of a scripture to focus on winning and learning and transforming my mind. And I read a book a couple years ago by Conor McGregor that I win or I learn. And then immediately when I was reading that, I chose to start reframing a thought that I win or I learn all the time. So I'm winning all the time. So I invite you to adopt that affirmation. I am winning or learning all the time. So I am winning all the time. I am progressing all the time. So, how to have 6 or 7-figure proposal days, because depending on where you're at, maybe you haven't even done a 5-figure proposal day yet. Maybe you haven't done a 6-figure proposal day yet. Maybe you're right there where you're about to hit a 7-figure proposal day, and or this title caught you and captured you. And when I look back on my multi-passionate entrepreneur journey from side hustler to creator to CEO, I remember a time readily where when I did not see or find opportunities as readily as I do now. And I recognize where I was operating in a lot of scarcity and a lot of limiting beliefs of, I can only make money from this job. I can only make money from the salary. It's always only going to be a side hustle. There's not ongoing opportunities available. So now I look back and I see the evidence and the progress on how far I've come from even seeing different forms of abundance. And when we transform our thinking to allow abundance in all forms, we start to see more and more forms of abundance, and everything starts to change. We start to celebrate and recognize so much, and receiving becomes so much easier. And we recognize that money is not by far the only form of abundance. I invite you to start to see abundance as freedom of time, of expression, of community, of location, of expression, all of which I have fought for and am now living in. Freedom of knowledge, freedom of, yes, financial freedom, which I have not reached yet, but based on past evidence of reaching goals, of things transforming, of my weight loss, of location freedom, of so many other things, of doing projects with Google, with NBC, with The Apprentice. I am confident that this is coming. And so I invite you to look at past evidence as well. So I started recognizing opportunities to create, make, and receive 5, 6, 7 figures step by step. I started receiving more and more with creating my own wealth and inviting and allowing contracts of 4 figures. and submitting for 5, 6, 7 figures. But and the reason why I differentiated the 4 figures is I've received those so far on a monthly basis. Okay. But I'm submitting and stretching and rewiring for 5, 6, 7 figures. And making and managing money like a boss is a journey. Keep listening because I'm going to break down how I got this 7-figure proposal day. Through my own life experiences, I discovered 7 ways to make 7K in 7 days. That's also on the blog and show. As I became clear on who I am, who I serve, and the limitless possibilities all around me, 6 to 7 figure proposal days became the norm. They became the norm in 2023. That is progress to profits if I um, don't recognize anything else in this year. I remember the beginning of 2023 having a 6-figure proposal day with multiple proposals, like 2 or 3 or 4 was blowing my brain. So of course, having a 7-figure proposal day with one contract, with one submission, with one proposal blew and it still blows my brain. But now it's normalized. Speaking of, you guys may want to definitely check out how to make 7 ways to make 7K on the blog and on the show and my course. So these 6 to 7 figure proposal days have included, take note, business to business proposals, speaker engagements and workshops, global retreats and workshops and submitting to retreat centers, influencer management and marketing, and social media and management. Oh my God, like the song by Usher. Oh, 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 oh my God. And side note, I'm including that in an upcoming Instagram reel. Speaking of, if you don't follow me on Instagram at Katrina Julia Fit, what are you doing? And shout me out, tag me on a show, leave a review on the show so I can shout you out as well and drop your IG. So let's get into the nitty gritty, the 7-figure proposal day. I know if I was reading this blog post and or listening to the show, I would want to see the proof up front and the value to help me create it. That is my intention as well. And I shared earlier how I remember sitting at Flower Child in Atlanta. Side note, if you haven't checked out my top 10 travel series on my blog, definitely do that with Atlanta and destinations all around the world. And I remember sitting there creating and editing the initial and final components of the 7-figure proposal before sending it. I felt and still feel such pride and progress and celebration. While I've experienced 6-figure proposal days more often and several 7-figure proposal days with multiple proposals, this one was my first 7-figure proposal day, showing me in 2023 that this is possible with one proposal, one project, one client. Okay. One proposal, one client, one project, and to normalize that in my brain and yours. And this, interestingly enough, this blog post has actually sat in drafts, I think since like April or May of 2023, and I'm recording this towards the end of October. And so it's very interesting to me that I forgot about it to share this kind of value, but it's also very interesting to me that this is aligning to Black Friday. And this proposal specifically is and was for a tourism bureau on an agency proposal for an annual proposal. And what was crazy was just the alignment of using all my gifts, talents, and abilities and the flow of including strategy, structure, systems, including my fractional CMO approach, including my influencer management, including my social media, including things like 25xing my business the first year on Facebook alone with sharing my before and after with wellness and with Herbalife. Okay. So here are some highlights. And if you follow and go check out the blog in the link in the show notes, you'll see the screenshots. I did not include the tourism bureau that it was because I did not want them to get a ton of emails and different things. B, I'm already sharing a ton of value and you may find it by Googling. But at the same time, I know that I give a lot of value. Literally, this is a $1.8 million proposal away for free, but I also have boundaries. Because I know the value, but I'm not going to just give you away the kitchen sink to people that don't work with me one-on-one and don't invest with me one-on-one and or at least are not in, say, my global retreats where you can come and get away and create it. And definitely check out the co-living opportunities and or at least in my online courses with investments like $100 a month. That's a couple of Starbucks coffee a week for you to create it. So here are the highlights from the proposal. And these are typical on RFPs, not just for tourism bureaus, but for brands and agencies. And a lot of my background is in corporate. I've worked with 7,000 plus creators. I've worked in corporate America as an executive. I've sat on board of directors. I've implemented systems. I've put together departments. I've done trainings for 3,000 plus people across 50 plus locations and a lot more. So, scope of work. The scope of work that was included in this RFP was providing a research-based media strategy for the campaign for the year, key target audiences, KPIs to measure the performance. So they want to know what KPIs you're going to measure if you're awarded the contract, specific tactics across all channels, measuring against benchmarks, what the RFP process execution would look like with media vendors, what media vendors you would use, how you would evaluate media proposals, a comprehensive media plan and flow chart, media vendor management and communication, buying services and placing of media, managing optimization and making recommendations to increase ROI, ongoing review of media, provide monthly reports of KPI in coordination with the brand agency to deliver all required creative assets. Now, keep in mind, you guys, I've had years and decades of experience of working with corporations on contracts, RFPs, reviewing vendors, and more as well. So from the corporate side, from reviewing, from putting together, from submitting, and from creating and executing and scaling. So from all essentially angles, including developing tech and team and sourcing vendors and teams. The general project questions they were asking in the RFP was also please, and I just gave screenshots of it, so I did not include the full RFP at all. And again, that is something that if you work with me one-on-one, you will get access to platforms and tech and tools where you find opportunities like this readily and how to scale it with tech and with VAs. So please describe your process for planning media, how you establish goals, select partners and targeting, list the project phases and key milestones when setting up a comprehensive multi-million-dollar media campaign. I've also worked with multi-million-dollar budgets. Please describe your approach to optimization during the span. Please describe your approach to client service, including your process for handing off requests, your average response time, your escalation process. Comment on this when beginning a relationship with a new client. Some of you don't even know that for your current creators. So how would you be able to even articulate that with your brands? That's why it's so important to have that clarity, that strategy, that structure in those systems, no matter whether you're serving one client or 10 or 20, because the more you are clear, the easier it is to communicate. Please describe your access to industry-based research. Please provide an overview of your capabilities and experiences and case studies to provide creative digital production support if needed. Budget. The current budget for this project is $1.825 million inclusive of fees. Proposal requirements. It is a max of 10 pages. This is where it also becomes super important to follow directions. I can't tell you how many creators and influencers I've seen through social media and influencer management and submissions for ongoing work where basic instructions are missed. Basic, like this is a clear one, max of 10 pages. Some of you would miss right over that. That's why it's so important, or skip right over that, to follow those directions. Please include the following items: a letter of interest, a description of your company's primary services, the year in which your company was formed, the address, the number of total employees and contractors, a current and past client list, any conflict of interest. And then I have highlights of my 10 plus page proposal, like my letter of interest that highlights brands served, including Google, NBC, Airbnb, Panama, Honduras, things like 200 plus million in reach with influencers across our own platform and others, being named the top influencer marketing agency and marketer by Maple and Tag Atlanta in 2021 and 2023, 3,000 plus ROI, 10x reach and results, MBA, CPA experience with 7+ industries, event planning, including 100,000 plus people, global retreats and workshops, etc. So I just gave you a couple of the bullets because, again, this is your opportunity in the letter of intent to highlight what things you have already done that they can easily see you in that role. Then I had a quick 3-point bullet on company background and primary services like brand engagement, CMO and influencer management, and online programs with health, wealth, biz, tips, tools, and tech. Then current and past clients. And then I put in a beautiful graphic. I use tools like Kajabi, and I use an incredible proposal platform like Honeybook, which I also hyperlinked in the blog post. And Honeybook is what helped me put together this beautiful proposal. And in the 4-based approach, I put in media programs include project management like a boss, press agency, content strategy creation and campaigns. Influence media programs include influencer marketing and management, social media and execution, podcasting, sourcing and pre-screening, metric management A to Z. Then I have lifestyle programs include wellness and hands-on solutions, content creation and influencer marketing, the digital components, live events and retreats, and then that flows into travel, events and retreats and speaking, hospitality, media and press. And you can see how everything overlaps and can overlap easily. So there is no overwhelm, there is flow, there is alignment, and then our average results with weight loss, with wealth, and with ROI, and then segments on wellness, media, influencer, online, and travel for more examples for them, and hyperlinked, and then my story and bio with my media kit. Then the current budget that they put together, that they wanted to know if I had experience in dealing with multi-million-dollar budgets. And I put experience 10 plus years of managing 100K to 10 million plus dollar budgets from startups to mid-size to Fortune 500, plus several other bullets. And then I gave 3 different options for methods of billing with a monthly coverage retainer of all of 1.8 million, 152,000 monthly. I gave a mid-tier option of 1.3 million roughly and $112,000 a month. And then I gave a lower end tier of 1.2 million and 100K a month retainer. And then with secondary draw options to cover things like influencer content, etc. And then I highlighted other screenshots from Honeybook on the different segments like influencer, industry partners, press services, etc. So, as I walk through challenging circumstances, I often ask, how and what is this teaching me? As I shifted from creator to CEO, I learned marketing like a boss includes harnessing the power of AI to streamline marketing efforts. If you haven't listened to my episode or blog post on 5 steps to launch like a boss, I definitely recommend that you do. And this episode and that one and several others that I mentioned, you may absolutely slay your marketing and Black Friday and beyond like an icon like Beyonce. And that is also what I included in my emails and in this blog post, and the gif of Beyonce dressed like royalty, basically telling you and everyone, slay queen, slay marketing like Beyonce, even on the busiest days like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And that is possible. Of course, some of you may choose to do it on your own, but I absolutely invite you to consider a fractional CMO and how to find incredible business to business proposals. Incredible platforms like Indeed, Brain Trust, and Dynamite Jobs will absolutely help you do that. You can read a lot more details on my blog about the platforms and or simply Google. Full disclaimer, no, I am not at 6 or 7 figures yet. I am at 5, 6, 7-figure proposal days. I am constantly learning. I'm focusing right now on massively increasing my conversion on the meetings and on the scaled options online with creators, etc. So I am in many ways right there where you are as well. Another way is, and I mentioned part of this earlier, how to make money speaking in the creator economy. List your profile and your experiences on platforms like espeakers.com. I listed a lot more information in the blog on this with things like my sample bio and my actual listing on eSpeakers with reviews, so you can get an example of an optimized profile. How to pitch brands for paid social media engagements. Last but not least, I'm covering this on this episode for things like countless ways to make money with brands, from creating content to ongoing consulting to creating retreats to teaching creators to make money. So this can be user generated content, aka UGC is likely what you have heard of. Social media management and influencer management, which you can find on my bit.ly, bit.ly/fractional CMO like a boss, including leveraging platforms like obvious.ly, FreeUp, and Indeed. Content creators may collaborate with platforms like Obviously to access brand partnerships and sponsored content opportunities like I did with Google as well. Social media managers may capitalize on platforms like FreeUp to submit proposals for social media management. I just submitted another one this week. This can be remote work, and or this may integrate global retreats for creators with brands and have brands fund them. That's part of what I am reaching out to brands with as well as an option. Businesses looking for influencer management may source agencies, managers, and or post on platforms like Indeed. So the number one thing I have learned is that every action you take matters. The 7-figure proposal days are a combination of compound actions that have happened over time. Start with the 4-figure, the 5-figure, the 6-figure, the 7-figure proposal days, no matter where you are, to get to that impact, that innovation, that influence, and those cash flow years, quarters, weeks, months, and days over time. It is the impact we make, the innovation, and the influence on creating communities and giving back that matter most of all. What is your biggest takeaway from how to have 7-figure proposal days, whether it's tips from the proposals or the platforms? Let's create it. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagement. Let's create it.